Have you ever been so hungry you felt like you could eat a horse? Well, today we're talking about a man who might have actually tried. This is the bizarre, true story of Tarrare, the man who could eat anything and everything, and whose appetite terrified an entire nation. Born in rural France around 1772, Tarrare was, from a young age, a walking, talking black hole. His appetite was legendary, and not in a good way. By the time he was a teenager, he could reportedly eat a quarter of a bullock in a single day, an amount of meat equal to his own body weight. His parents, unable to keep up with his ravenous hunger, kicked him out of the house. Left to fend for himself, Tarrare fell in with a traveling troupe of charlatans and performers. He quickly turned his horrifying condition into a spectacle. On the streets of Paris, he became a sensation. Crowds would gather, morbidly fascinated, as Tarrare swallowed corks, stones, and even live animals. He would stuff his cheeks with a dozen apples at once, his face stretching like rubber. He'd devour an entire basket of apples, one by one, and then wash it down with ... Well, let's just say his performance wasn't for the faint of heart. He could unhinge his jaw like a snake to swallow a whole eel without chewing. People would throw him cats, dogs, and puppies, and he would tear them apart with his teeth and swallow them, fur bones, and all. Descriptions from the time say he had unusually soft, fair hair, an abnormally wide mouth, with stained teeth, and lips that were almost invisible. When he hadn't eaten, his skin would hang so loosely he could wrap the fold from his abdomen around his waist. When he was full, his belly would distend like a huge balloon. He was said to stink so badly that people couldn't stand within 20 paces of him, and a visible vapor would rise from his body after a large meal. His body was constantly hot to the touch, and he sweated profusely. He also suffered from chronic foul-smelling diarrhea. Despite eating mountains of food, he remained rail-thin, weighing only around 100 pounds. When the French Revolution broke out, Tarrare joined the army. But military rations, they were a joke to him. He'd do odd jobs for other soldiers in exchange for their food, and when that wasn't enough, he'd scavenge for scraps in the gutter and fight stray dogs for rotting meat. His insatiable hunger quickly landed him in the military hospital, where doctors were baffled. To test the limits of his appetite, they presented him with a meal intended for 15 laborers. He ate it all. Then, he ate 2 large meat pies, plates of grease and salt, and drank 4 gallons of milk. After all that, he immediately fell asleep. In another instance, the surgeons offered him a live cat. Tarrare tore its belly open with his teeth, drank its blood, and ate it whole, leaving only the bare skeleton. He would later vomit up the fur and skin. He was also observed eating lizards, snakes, and other creatures he found around the hospital. His condition was a medical mystery, but 2 military surgeons, Dr. Kerville and Baron Percy, saw a potential opportunity. If Tarrare could swallow anything, could he swallow a secret message? They placed a written note inside a small wooden box, had Tarrare swallow it, and 2 days later, retrieved the box from his excrement. The note was still intact and legible. They had found their secret weapon. Tarrare was officially made a spy for the French army of the Rhine. His first mission, to deliver a secret message to a captured French colonel in a Prussian-controlled town. He was disguised as a German peasant and given the box to swallow. However, Tarrare was not a master of disguise. He didn't speak a word of German, and his bizarre behavior quickly drew suspicion. He was captured by the Prussians almost immediately. They strip-searched him and found nothing. They chained him in a dungeon and waited. For 24 hours, Tarrare held out, but the pain and the lack of food were too much. He confessed to being a spy and told them about the box inside him. The Prussians chained him to a latrine and waited. 30 hours after swallowing it, the box finally emerged. The Prussian general eagerly opened it, expecting to find vital military secrets. Instead, the note simply asked if the recipient had received the message and to please let them know if it was delivered successfully. It was just a test. Enraged, the general ordered Tarrare to be flogged. Some accounts say he was even subjected to a mock execution before being released and sent back towards French lines. Traumatized and disillusioned with his career as a spy, he returned to the hospital, begging Baron Percy to cure him. He said he'd do anything to be normal. Percy tried every treatment he could think of: opium, wine vinegar, tobacco pills, and a diet of soft-boiled eggs. Nothing worked. Tarrare's hunger was relentless. He would sneak out of the hospital to scavenge in gutters, slaughterhouses, and garbage heaps. He was caught multiple times drinking the blood of patients, undergoing bloodletting, and even attempting to eat the bodies in the hospital morgue. The staff tolerated his horrifying behavior, but then the unthinkable happened. A 14-month-old baby vanished from the hospital. The suspicion immediately fell on Tarrare. While there was no direct proof, everyone knew what he was capable of. He was chased out of the hospital for good, and Baron Percy never saw him again. 4 years later, in 1798, Percy received a call from a hospital in Versailles. A patient was on his deathbed and wished to see him. Who was Tarrare? He was weak and suffering from advanced tuberculosis. He told Percy he believed the golden fork he had swallowed 2 years prior was lodged inside him, killing him. He died shortly after. An autopsy was performed, though the surgeons could barely stand the stench. They found his insides were rotten and filled with pus. His gullet was abnormally wide, and when they opened his mouth they could see a broad canal straight down into his stomach. His liver and gallbladder were enormous. His stomach was a massive, flaccid bag, covered in ulcers. They never found a golden fork. The cause of his death was officially listed as a severe case of exudative diarrhea. So, what was wrong with Tarrare? We'll never know for sure. Modern doctors speculate it could have been a damaged amygdala, the part of the brain that controls appetite, or perhaps extreme hyperthyroidism. Others suggest a rare genetic disorder. Whatever the cause, Tarrare's case remains one of the most bizarre and disturbing in medical hysteria. Tale of a man whose hunger consumed not only everything around him, but ultimately, himself. It's a grotesque story, but it's a fascinating look at the extremes of the human body and the mysteries that still exist within it. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think caused Tara's condition? Let me know your theories down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into the weird side of history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more strange stories. We'll see you next time.